It's Sunday night, 9 o'clock. Welcome to All Lacrosse Live. I'm Gary Groob in Toronto, and with me, as always, my cast. I have Shawn Slaght over in Moose Jaw. Son, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, thanks, Gary.
And I have Muffler Mike over in Connecticut. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great.
It is a spectacular week. My God, another busy week in everything. Weird stuff, though, man. Weird stuff. I've been watching the soccerization of lacrosse. You know, the toughest guys I knew were guys that wrestled and guys that played lacrosse with. And now I'm watching guys when the guys are coming within 3 feet of them, dropping like they were shot. I just hope that changes soon because, as long as the refs are calling it, they're doing it, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's that foolish. So, anyways, before we get moving, of course, we want to, of course, get the ball rolling. And so, here we are. Just to get the ball rolling, y'all. I love that. That happens every Rock game, man. They have the official delivery of the first ball. So that's it's perfect. So I think I'll incorporate that. I like that. Anyways, before we get rolling, remember that episodes are streamed live across Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and also Twitch. And you can catch all the action on EOPsports.com. Remember, hit the subscribe, follow, and like buttons. Always share. As you see, we have plenty of shows. Please have a look at them and please, follow them as well. Lots of great shows, all types of shows for all types of sports. If you missed a show, no worries. You can grab all the podcasts on all the major podcasting companies, which include Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, and so much more. You can also catch all the shows on the EOP YouTube page at EOP Sports, or you can catch all of our stuff on the All Across All the Time YouTube page, in which you can catch much, much more. Our library, as well as a library of retro games, interviews, reviews, as well as fights, and a few other things in there as well. More coming all the time. Remember, you can stay up to date with all sports by visiting EOPsports.com with great articles from our huge staff of contributors. And while you're there, please subscribe to our newsletter. A couple of things to keep in mind. We have the Bats Invitational in 2 weeks' time over in Rochester at the Blue Cross Arena. Doors open at 12:30. Face-off is at 1. It is the Laxney North American Invitational Champions against the Rochester Bats this year in the 3rd annual. Take a look at the Rochester Bats Instagram page for more ticket information. Your ticket for the Nighthawks game at night gets you in free for this game. It's a double whammy. I suggest you do it. If you're anywhere near the Rochester area, I've been going to these things for a while, and they're great. They're great games. Next thing to remember also is in July is the 3rd annual McDougall Memorial, helping kids reach their full potential. Great day of lacrosse. You have a Junior A game at 3 p.m., the Celebrity game, which is a must-see, at 6 p.m., Silent Auction, which goes 4 to 10. Lots of great stuff every year. I got some great things last year. Beer garden and live music. All of it's fantastic. It costs next to nothing to go. I think it's $10. If you're in anywhere near the Oakville area near track, please head on down. Really for a good cause and a lot of fun, and see all your buddies and friends from the world of lacrosse. Well, guys, a few things in the news before we get rolling into a big week of NLL as we get a little bit clearer through the mud of how this playoff is going to look. I'm telling you. You need the guys from MIT and Nassau to hook up together. Well, we got Mike, so it's almost the same.
Yeah.
Mike does all our sifting and stuff like that. Makes it a little less confusing. Meanwhile, we get these messages in the middle of the night. Go, I can't figure out. Never mind. If I do this, never mind. Anyways, big congratulations to Jeff Shatler, who is now one of the coaches on United States Lacrosse. A big spotlight on his career. We drafted 10th overall. 2009 and 2018 NLL Champions Cup, 2018 NLL Playoff MVP, 2011 NLL Transition Player of the Year and League MVP, 4-time NLL All-Star, 3-time Mann Cup champion, Haudenosaunee Nationals box and field team member. Also a member of one of the teams in the Rebeski tournament.
Oh.
Yes, he played in, I believe, the Spirit Squad. It was amazing watching him last year. Him and a whole bunch of other former NLLers getting together and having just some fun. Or other. A few other little tidbits. There is Kyle Rubish is re-signed with the San Diego Seals for 1 year. He looked great last night. The cause turnover king was doing just that. And he's a big asset to the San Diego Seals defensive core. Without him there, I'm not sure what they would do because he is such a big piece there. All right. Heading into Arena Lacrosse, it was a big weekend. Playoffs have started. And with the women, you had their championship weekend. Congratulations to the Skyhawks, who won 6-3. And they are your Arena Lacrosse League East champions. That was over at the Arena Lacrosse, over at the ILA, Iroquois Lacrosse Arena yesterday. Congratulations to them. Over in the ALL, we had a game on Friday over in the Memorial Arena in Brampton, and Brampton faced the Peterborough Timbermen. Very evenly played game for the first 20 minutes. Then the Express put it into another gear, scoring 10 of the next 12 goals over the next 18 minutes and 4 seconds. Brampton riding high. It was led by Sam Drimnitsky, Jake McNabb, and Jeff Whitting. To the Timbermen's credit, they didn't give up. Led by Cam Milligan, who had 5 goals and 3 assists. Peterborough got within 2 goals early in the fourth, putting them in a 5-goal run of their own. The Express got back on track, keeping Peterborough to just 2 goals the rest of the way, while potting 4 of their own in the process. Brampton moves to the semifinals with a 16-12 victory. Over at the Rock Athletic Center yesterday, the early game had the Six Nations Snipers facing the Oshawa Outlaws, and I've been saying all year that the Oshawa Outlaws are a team to watch out for. Well, they beat the Six Nations Snipers like a drum. 23-9 was the final in that game. Snipers looked good early. They got out to a 4-1 lead in the first quarter, but then the roof fell in. The Outlaws poured on the pressure, scoring 14 of the next 15 goals in just over 30 minutes to take a 19-7 lead early in the fourth quarter. While the Snipers kept playing hard, the Outlaws had all the answers on the afternoon, holding to just 2 goals the rest of the way. Oshawa now advances with a convincing 23-9 victory. The big surprise of the day, almost big surprise, was when Oswego faced the Whitby Steelhawks. Now, we know Whitby went 13-1 this year. Oswego barely got out of a 10-game losing streak. And this game finished with Whitby coming ahead 16-14. A lot of sweaty brows over in Whitby yesterday evening. The Bears saved most of their complete performances for the end of the season. They matched the Steelhawks punch for punch throughout the afternoon, with the exception of 6 minutes at the end of the second quarter. During that time, Oswego gave up 5 goals, putting them down 9-4 at the half. The second half saw the Bears get further behind, giving up 3 goals to start the quarter. However, powered by 5 different scorers, the Bears scored 4 in a row to get back to 13-11 with 12-11 to go in the quarter. Teams traded a pair of goals, but both defenses stepped up, and it stayed a 2-goal deficit. Whitby advances with a 16-14 victory. This afternoon over at the Iroquois Lacrosse Arena, the Toronto Monarchs and the Paris River Wolves met up. And we know Paris has had trouble, recently because of all the call-ups, losing Andrew losing Andrew's brother.
Alex
Q, that's right. Name just went across. Of course, he's on the Toronto Rock practice squad, so I should know this, right? But we also lost Marley Angus to the Rock and a few others throughout the season, and it kind of hurt them. But the game lived up to his billing of the game of the weekend. Back and forth struggle that had this thing tied at 13-13 after 3. In fact, it was 15-15 with just 9 minutes to play. Toronto was able to put together a 3-goal run in 45 seconds late in the fourth, which was the difference in the game. Teams did trade goals a couple of times more, but the Monarchs were able to hold on for the 20-17 victory, advancing them to the semifinals. So next Saturday over at the track, the early game is 1 p.m. It is the Toronto Monarchs versus the Whitby Steelhawks. The late game is 4 p.m., and that will have the Oshawa Outlaws against the Brampton Express. and both games are worth your time to take a look at. $10 all it costs, guys. Winner of that plays on Sunday, Easter Sunday, 2 p.m. at the track. Winner take all. And, of course, we do have the West finals, semifinals today. The Blackfish beat the Sea Spray 19-6, and the Eagles beat the Grizzlies 14-4, meaning that the Blackfish will play the Eagles on Wednesday for the championship over at Langley Event Center, 7 p.m. Pacific, if you're able to get there. Well, guys. Hey, Matt's with us.
Hey, Matt. Matt, I need you to stick around because we need your opinion on the Bandits' playoff chances because I got a bone to pick with this loss. Okay, so there's a lot of fans just kind of, I see comments that no worries, no problem, we're gonna be okay, and you do have somewhat of an easier road for the rest of the season. You've got at Philly, and that's going to be the back end of a doubleheader for Philly this coming weekend. You're at Colorado, who you've already beaten once. You're home against Calgary, and then you're at Las Vegas. Here's my concern. Look at where they are in the standings and look at all the teams just above them and just below them. You have Halifax, who's half a game ahead of them. They have the tiebreaker on Buffalo. You got Georgia, who's now a full game ahead of you. They have the tiebreaker on Buffalo. You got Panther City in a virtual tie, but you just lost to them. They have the tiebreaker on you. Then you look at some of the teams below you. Sure, you've beaten Rochester twice. You beat Saskatchewan. But what about a surging Calgary team? If you lose to them, despite being at home, now they have a tiebreaker on you. If Colorado beats you, now they might have a tiebreaker with common opponents potentially. What if Vancouver keeps surging? They'll have the tiebreaker on you. This just doesn't seem as clear cut to me as it seems to most of the fan base. So if you're still there, Matt, we want your input. I want to know what you feel about the Bandits' playoff chances because I'm not sold on it. And I've been pretty critical of them all season, but now I'm genuinely concerned because it's what seemed like it was going to be a lock just a couple of weeks ago. Doesn't seem so much now.
Absolutely.
Your guys' thoughts on it too, because they got a lot of teams just above and some, a little bit below, but who are on fire right now, who either have tiebreakers or can have tiebreakers on them.
The Bandits remind me a lot of the New England Patriots of old, who played up or down to their competition.
Yep.
When Buffalo plays Toronto, they get up for it. When Buffalo plays San Diego, they get up for it. When Buffalo plays Vancouver, they go down for it. When Buffalo plays, I don't know, pick another team, Las Vegas, they go down for it.
Down.
You could even put Albany in that conversation. Playing,
well, Albany is
playing down
underwhelming
to them,
me recently too, and
Albany's on fire. And
it took them forever to convince me to start picking them, and I start picking them, and they start going south.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a good thing I didn't pick them at the start. They might have gone 0-8.
But I mean, I'm with teams starting to bunch up, especially after this weekend. I'm legit concerned that they're going to end up getting pushed out on a tiebreaker.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a realistic possibility. And while I haven't looked at how every other team in that kind of middle of the standings stacks up yet with their tiebreakers, I just get the sense that they're going to end up being the odd ones out. And then it's just going to be you lost to the wrong teams.
Well,
basically,
yeah.
they can win. Basically, they can win and kind of hold steady. It might be okay, but you lose even one or two down that stretch. Those tiebreakers are gonna come into play.
Yeah.
really
I mean,
come to
honestly, the only other one that might concern me is Panther City. You know, if Panther City misses out on the playoffs by just one game, and you guys probably know where I'm going with this, everyone is going to point to that home loss to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Where they let that trickler of a goal go in with 2 seconds left and then blew it in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's like, to me, that's the kind of loss that's going to it will haunt the team next year if they don't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's when it sticks with them all summer as well.
Yeah.
Just kick yourself. While we're on these milestone thingies here, just before we get rolling with all the games, Kyle Killen, he's now at 200 career points. Congratulations, Kyle. Sticking with Vancouver, they had a lot of milestones this week. Reed Bowering with 500 loose goals. Keegan Ball with 400 points. Moving over to Toronto, Nick Rose with his weekly, hit into the milestone thing. Third all-time in goalie wins now. He just passed Bob Watson with 106. He's one away from Patty O'Toole. And, well, he's got a ways to go before he can catch Matt Vince, who's still piling on victories, right?
Right.
Yep.
Jay Thornberry hit the 1,900 loose ball mark. That's incredible. That's a great number.
Yeah.
Brandon Robinson with 200 career points. Or Connor Robinson, I'm sorry. Joe Resetarits now has 300 career goals. And lastly, Marshall Palace with 100 career points. Congratulations to Marshall. Now, we were talking about our picks, just to get this out of the way.
We were
talking about a bunching. Talking about bunching in the standings here.
Look at the bunching there now, guys.
Yeah.
Sean and Pat are tied still in first, 63 and 44, but Eduardo is nipping at their heels, 62 and 45. I have made some gains this week also at 61 and 46. And Mike is moving his way towards the 500 mark, 51 and 56.
Really. Not mathematically out of it yet.
Still has a mathematical chance.
Great. I feel like Vegas right now.
Still mathematically, isn't it?
Well,
are they though?
How about them San Diego Seals? Well, yes, they got the win. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Did they overwhelm me? No, they didn't. And we'll get on to that all that firepower and can't score thing that is driving me wild. But
Vegas seems like their new Vancouver.
It seems, right?
Yeah.
Rough weekend.
Man, oh yeah.
we had some really strange goings on. Which brings us to our very first game, and we were already talking about that, and that's the Bandits and Panther City. Malcolm scores 4, Donville scores 3 as Panther City wins in overtime. Burns stars and lost 5 goals and 2 assists. He couldn't miss. Why don't we have a look at the highlights, and then we will get chatting about this game.
Thought about it, didn't. Quick shot, no, just off to the side by Nathan Grove. And then Buffalo comes right back and does give him some physicality.
And there's Brandon Goodwin, the new West
Shot
Salmonville.
Didn't take him long to tie it up.
Cannot let guys get open off ball with Smith's vision.
Smith looks, no,
oh,
shoots,
there it is, right there.
And the assist came from Dane Smith.
Hold Vince.
Shot no, Damoud again covers up, and he's going to let it go to the empty net. Is it going to go? Oh, it does! Nick Damoud with a goal! Malcolm digs it inside, wide open shot, score!
And then Oh, wow.
Nick Damoud did not know where that went after the shot by McKay. Shot, no, goal! Left. Shot, score! How quick was that? Shot is of Dave Smith and Josh Byrne. Shot, score! The rifle shot!
There's that transition goal over the top, but not only getting over the top and running and attacking the cage opposed to going parallel.
Malcolm scores on the steal! Just a 5 to play. The lead is at 2. Buffalo riding a 2-game win streak. Smith looks, shoots, scores!
Can't.
Both teams at full strength. 70 seconds left in an exciting third.
Oh,
Shot,
wow.
score off the feed from Will Malcolm.
That open off ball right on the doorstep.
Byrne, look, shoots, scores!
Just a beautifully placed shot by Josh Byrne.
Buffalo on loose balls in this ball game. Shot, score again!
I mean, just the ball movement. They're just doing an incredible job.
Look, shot, no! And goal does trickle in. The shot by Kluche. This game was big.
And they're going to have to prove it here with less than 7 to go.
Shot, score!
I think Will Malcolm took offense to that.
For Panther City. Down by 1 here in the 4th. Crawford looks, pass, it's
wow.
a score! Will Malcolm again with his 4th. Eye on Josh Byrne. Nanakoke inside, shoots, scores!
Wow. Nanakoke does an incredible job getting around.
Back to Donville, shoot, block.
Man, their defenders are doing such a great job.
Crawford scores! The shot clock was at 2. Crawford, a couple of fakes, 15 to shoot. Shot, score! Panther City with an overtime win. Jonathan Donville with a game winner.
Well, let me address the first thing. Is the goalie goal, Nick Damoud. Well, first off, congratulations, Nick. I think that's number 3 now in your career. I think
Just
him and
one
Nick
off the
Rose are
all-time
regular-
record.
Goal score. Yeah.
One off the all-time record.
There you go. Now, listening to people going, well, why did they pull a goalie? They're just getting greedy. Now, listen to me. It happens all the time with under 30 seconds left. There was 25 seconds left. You hold for the last shot, you get the shot. You had the ball in Josh Byrne's stick. As you've seen, he had 5 goals on the night. He was pretty much, 100%. Well, 98%. This particular shot missed the net, caromed off the back, and went the other way. Damoud fired a strike. More times than not, I see it happen. The goalies fire a shot down the floor, bounces over the net, bounces just wide or whatever, and we never talk about it. This one happens to be a strike, goes in there. Happens. Yeah.
Talk to any coach in the league. They would have pulled their goalie in that situation 10 out of time. Yeah.
Yeah. Every single time. Was that the reason you lost? No.
Maybe it was more of a question, did Byrne take that shot too early?
You did. You took it at 8 seconds. They should have taken it at 4 seconds. And then the ball didn't, you hear the
We
horn.
wouldn't have time to do that. Yeah.
Dribbling into the net. But to go with the rest of it, you know what? It was an even game. Back and forth. Very evenly played game. Panther City has a lead going into the 4th. The Bandits do what the Bandits do. They got on a run in the 4th, score 4 goals. It looks like this thing is done. I've watched it many times. But Panther City, to their credit, kept fighting. Will Malcolm with a goal with 6:37 left. And then Will Malcolm with 2 goals to tie it up. Nanakoke scores with 53 seconds left with a beauty from the top of the crease. And I thought that was it myself. It was another one where Buffalo steals it at the end. Crawford with 20 seconds left and 2 seconds left on the shot clock with a strike. Low to low. Beautiful shot. And we're going to overtime. Both teams had chances in overtime. The thing lasted a couple of minutes. It just so happens that Jonathan Donville, who also was on fire in the evening with his third goal there, had a beautiful shot. Sidearm strike, skip shot into the far corner. It's over. Gonna blame Vince for that? No. Is he washed up? No. So, yes, was it unfortunate that Buffalo lost for Buffalo fans? Yes. Was it an elation for Panther City? Yes. But was it anybody's particular fault for this or that and the other, like I'm reading on all these pages? Hell no.
No, I think maybe there's a little more angst about it because, you know, one, again, it's a, you know, anyone who's, anyone who knows what I just reeled off, you know, about the tiebreaker situation is probably a lot more concerned now. You know, the other thing is I think it probably bothers the fans more because you lost by 1 goal. And, you know, there's 1 goal that maybe, you know, you didn't could have been avoided possibly, you know.
Yeah, but
despite the explanation, I'm not saying I disagree with your explanation, but you know,
you had to lead with 53 seconds left, Mike.
Yeah.
What more do you want? They had to lead.
And maybe give credit to credit is due. I mean, Panther City came out and kept pace with them.
Yeah,
and Joanne Sorkin has a really great idea here: is let the kids lacrosse teams anywhere in the area in for free. Because way too many empty seats and
sure, and
just for optics,
I mean,
you know. And if they're in the playoffs, optics look terrible. Comes your favorite empty seat night is really getting old. They can't even shoot it right anymore because it's just so sparse. Like I mentioned you guys when we were watching the game on Friday, is when I can notice people in the crowd that I know, that's not a good thing.
And that they're Buffalo fans.
And they're Buffalo Bandits.
Yeah. So not even there for Panther City. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not even Panther City people. You know, I noticed more orange shirts than I did anything else there. So, you know, of that, you know, 300, 500, whatever in there, if 300 of them are Bandits fans, what did you really have? Bring your child to work day.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because everything I've seen, that looks like in a beautiful arena. But
beautiful arena, team that's really, really good, exciting to watch. You know, I enjoy watching them on the road when they're playing teams where I can get to, like Rochester, Toronto, or wherever, and because they're an exciting team to watch, and they have them in their backyard. And unfortunately, nobody knows that they're in their backyard. Apparently.
Yeah, and I just want to give them, you know, a bit of credit. You know, obviously, you know, it's also about kind of, you know, what Buffalo did to lose the game, but you know, I think a couple of big things. You can see, you could see them pushing, you know, that play where Will Malcolm, you know, beats out 3 Bandits for that loose ball and scores.
Yep.
You know, you know, that's the kind of stuff, you know, you love to see, you know, from a team that's, you know, just compete every minute. I think putting in Ty Thompson was huge for them. I believe he had 2 goals in the game.
That's right.
You know, I think he went in place of Gauthier.
That's right.
And Gauthier has been kind of struggling lately. So I think that was a huge boost, you know, in addition to obviously.
I got Tracy Kluski's little clip from his press conference.
This was a huge win for us. And to be honest with you, even all of our 1-goal games this year, it's starting to build a little bit of character in our locker room. It certainly helps a lot when you play, you know, the defending champs. And you're able to come on top in those 1-goal games. I said to them last night in a shoot-out, at some point in any season, the coach hands over the keys and says, "This you guys do with what we've been doing all year, what we've been preaching. You guys take control of it," and that's the most exhilarating part of the win for me tonight was that they did.
I love the fact you said character because you're really seeing that with this team too. That progression, they just keep getting better and keep getting better, keep getting better.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a team that's definitely hungry.
Yeah,
they want to get back in the playoffs. They want to show that they can compete, and I think they are. So This is going to be a huge, really a statement win for them.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on, shall we? And we had the next game on the Friday night, which was Calgary and Albany, in another shocker in my eyes. And Calgary, Pace's big night, 4 goals, 2 assists, leads the way to an OT win. Kurt's nets Sahadi in defeat, but that's their 3rd loss in a row now for Albany.
Yeah. Yep.
That's wrong time of the year for this.
Yeah.
Especially with Toronto as their opponent in 2 weeks. And they're just getting healthier. But let's look at the highlights of there, and then we will get into it.
And Del Bianco makes another save from that long shot. Looking down the floor, has a man breakaway opportunity for Calgary. Shoots and scores! Shane Simpson in transition. Gets in there. And eventually that is Walker that comes off the bench. He passes off. Firth now from well out. Takes the shot and scores! Sam Firth gets Albany on the board. At the draft, several trade opportunities. Now Leclerc takes the shot, and Doug Jamieson with another big save. And now here comes Albany back the other way. They have a 2-on-1 developing. They have the numbers. There's the shot, scores! It's dropped to Calgary, gets a chance here to turn it back. Simpson's ahead of the play, but once again, Albany does a nice job of getting back on defense. Simpson has a man, though. Shot, scores! Jesse King's 2nd of the night. Just 7 to work with on the shot clock, though, so Pace is going to have to work quickly. Pace has room, shoots and scores! Tyler Pace with the goal, and we're tied up 4-4. They did cash in on that 6-on-5. Now here's Pace with it, shoots and scores! Tyler Pace picks the corner. As Hayden Dixon off the bench comes back to Courier with 10 to shoot. Now Taylor passes off, nice pass to the side and scores! Oh, what a pass! And a nice finish from Hayden Dixon. Work it to Walker to Kurtz. Kurtz up high, winds, fires, scores! Ty Kurtz on the power play. 6-5, Albany back to within 1. And again, this is a team that's been in tight ones the entire season, and Pace gets the hat trick on the power play. Make it 7-5 Roughnecks.
Settle it, right? They take a big hit, they get the loose ball, and they're mature enough to grab the ball, settle, and get a good possession here, and results in a goal.
Yeah, there you go. That's how you finish that off. It's Simmons starting it, and Simmons finishing it. King now up high, goes back and forth with Pace. Pace now winds, fires, and scores! Tyler Pace is feeling it. He's got 4 there.
Yeah, exactly. So just get into each offensive possession and.
Well, a nice goal there by Ty Kurtz as he took the pass from Paulus and threw a nice move on Del Bianco. That's just 7 to shoot, though. He's going to have to find some space. Eventually has a man. It's Paulus to that. Takes the shot. Oh, Del Bianco somehow keeps that out. Vens. Now Walker has it for Albany. Passes off. There's the shot. Scores! Travis Longboat beats Del Bianco. Now Firth will pass off to Simmons. Simmons now, still with it. Simmons over to the side of the net. Shoots and scores! It's Longboat again! And we're tied. Drew couldn't find him. And now Calgary plays it. Simpson has a partial break. Simpson to the net! And a big save by Jamieson! As the defender passes off, gets the return pass, has some room, takes a shot, and he scores! Tanner Cook ends it and keeps Calgary's playoff hopes alive.
Now, of course, two things stand out to me. Number one, how teams disappear for big stretches on both sides. That's one. The second thing, of course, is what I said in the pick'ems, is Jamieson against Del Bianco. And, of course, you're going to have a low-scoring game. And that's what you had.
Yeah.
Also kind of answers the first one. But for huge stretches, you're talking about more than a quarter that Albany doesn't score. And Calgary gets back in the game. More than a quarter where Calgary doesn't score and Albany gets back in the game. That would be your fourth. And in between all that, we have back and forth stuff going on. The first and third are free-for-alls. So it's just very strange how that all worked out.
Yeah, and it's almost like that. That's almost compounds. Albany's problem with their power play not being very effective, and that's going to hurt come playoff time for them.
And another week where they're 1 for 3, right? So they didn't do very well this time either. All the other categories, you can tick the boxes off for them. That is the elephant in the room.
Yeah, but shout out to those Marvel superhero night jerseys of Calgary's. So those were phenomenal with Black Widow on them, and the initiative that they were supporting. So
yeah, unlike the Thor one here in Toronto, the same one as the one that Halifax used. Ironically, they were playing Halifax. But we'll get to that in a few minutes. But in this game here, guys, what are your takes? Albany.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely concerned. I mean, you've lost 3 in a row now, and we obviously haven't discussed the San Diego Vegas game, but knowing that San Diego's won now, they've moved into second place. So dropping fast, and now you're only a game ahead of Georgia as well. So
question though, has the league gotten smart to what Albany's been doing? And now there's a lot of film.
Or is it the youth? We're now seeing the kind of that youth and experience coming through with Albany.
I think it's a mix of both. Teams are going to have film now on these guys, and we're what 2/3, 3/4 of the way through the season, and it's as we know, it's a different pace for everyone. Whether you're coming out of juniors, whether you're coming out of a Kuffler school, whether you're coming out of NCAA, moving into box, you always hear from the rookies, oh, the pace of the game. Oh, I didn't realize it was so fast. I got to get used to, get used to the speed of the game. So, now you've had that speed of the game for 15 games, and
that just ramps up just a little bit more at this time of year, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
everything is that much more magnified. Every error is that much more glaring. But credit to Jameson, man, he made some incredible saves down the stretch, or this thing wasn't going to overtime anyway.
Yeah.
So a little bit too much reliance upon one's goalie as well, I think. So it's only so much you can do. So it'd be interesting because, like I say, they have Toronto in 2 weeks, and the Rock are looking for home playoffs throughout. So they're not going to ease up,
lay down.
And they're also going to be bringing in their players who have been hurt. So they're going to be going full tilt boogie. So with less practice squad guys than they've had all year long, because they've had injuries since week 1. So can you imagine the advantage of last year, where everybody finally got healthy just as the season was ending, and they ramped it up in time to go on a mass run to win a championship. Same thing looks like it's happening in Toronto.
And I'll just add, after that Toronto game in 2 weeks, it doesn't get any easier. You're at Panther City and then at New York to end the season.
Mm-hmm.
And
doesn't get any easier.
Both of those teams are, very well could be fighting for maybe the last playoff spot, depending how things go.
Right.
So it just, you don't have it easy from here on out. Calgary, their road looks a little bit different. They're off next week, but now you're 6-8, and then 2 weeks from now you've got a home and home on consecutive days with Saskatchewan, who
are tired.
Tired. We'll get to that.
This will be
we'll
the
get to that, but they're tired. Days and 15, they had about 15 minutes of sleep last
15
night.
days, so and
we'll
then,
get to that.
and then they're at Buffalo, and then they host Panther City to finish the season. So this is going to be, that's going to be quite an interesting road for them.
For sure. Let's move on, guys. As we can see by our motifs Sean's wearing a Vancouver Stealth cap. I've got a Vancouver Warriors cap and a San Jose Stealth Colin Doyle jersey. Mike has got his Vancouver jersey on the board. Sorry, Philly fans, but your team didn't do very well yesterday. They lost by a couple of touchdowns, if I read the comments correct. Yes, there you go. Gives it 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Oops. Anyways, let's have a look at the Ball Drops monster game, 8 goals, 5 assists in a road win. Jones shines for the Wings with 4 goals and 6 assists in a loss. Let's look at the highlights or lowlights, depending on which side you're on, and we will take a look and talk about them.
That they are. And Wings are going with strategic matchups right there. You saw Mitch Armstrong. We have a goal right there.
And that is a fantastic move by Keegan Ball.
Puts Vancouver on the power play. Pace in the box.
Vancouver's power play 13th in the league, 39% on the year. But they get one very, very quickly. Clock. It's going to be about 11 or 12 seconds left when the Wings get this ball back if it goes all the way down. Here's Crowley up high, fires and scores. Kevin Crowley, a shorthanded goal. And plus around the world, TSN Plus as well tonight. It's a busy night around the NLL. We'll keep you posted on some of the other action going on around the league later on. Here's Jones coming out in front and he scores. Mitch Jones, first quarter, but had been getting handily outscored in the second and third. So perhaps opportunity here for Philadelphia. Here's a chance in front, though, and Vancouver puts it home.
Let's look at the penalty behind the net. I couldn't see it, but it was Brad McCulley. Looks like he cross-checked Armstrong, who was behind the net.
And there's a power play goal for Philadelphia as Mitch Jones pulling out of midair by Braden Lady. And here he comes down the floor with it. Lady shoots and scores. And the Vancouver bench loved that one.
Wraparound shot by Jones. Great save.
Jones off left side for Reza Terrence, and he scores. Joe Reza Terrence forces one through. He gives it to Sam LeClaire out the front door. Katoni on this right side, fires and scores. Holden Katoni overpowers the goaltender. So it's going to be Vancouver ball to start things off here on the power play. Late penalty for roughing against Ryan Wagner, and an early power play goal as Keegan Ball fires it home.
4-9 on the season, 14th place. They need to make some moves. They've got some youngsters that are putting the ball in the net, and a vet like Ball jams it in right there.
Coming off the bench, and the Wings will move it around. 10 to shoot for Reza Terrence. Comes out in front, fires and scores! Joe Reza Terrence skip 5-on-3 here for Vancouver. They're executing it as a 4-on-3, and they put it home. As on that right side, it's Martel. Happened. Ball moves it left side. A quick stick shot wide. Ball gets it back. Thinking about it. Now fires and scores. Keegan Ball. Here's Ball again, looking for more on that left side, and he puts it home again. What a third quarter here for Keegan Ball. And Vancouver looking to add to this. They've got that lead all the way back up to 6. Headed to the net, it's low, and it's waved off.
After review, the call on the floor has been overturned as the shooter was clean prior to the ball going in. We have good goal.
I'm not sure I've seen him on the floor other than face-offs tonight, but is bolstering that part of the game for the Vancouver Warriors, who just got a 7th goal of the game from Keegan Ball. Left side, it's moved out to Ball. Ball, oh, behind the back! Oh my goodness, Keegan Ball with an exclamation point.
Why not? Why not make it 8?
You sense a little bit of disgust from Scott Gabrielson.
Yeah, just a little.
21-12. So you Rush fans, I'm not talking about the team. I'm talking about the music group. 21-12. But what can we talk about that's good that happened for Philadelphia other than Mitch Jones?
No.
Not a whole lot.
No.
They pulled out Zach Higgins after 15. Deacon Knott went in for 22 minutes, faced 12 shots, gave up 6 goals. Not the second coming of Bob Watson by any stretch, but coming in cold to a team that's obviously hot and a defense that's obviously cold. Spring break theme, and as someone had mentioned, looked like the defense already went on spring break themselves. I'm assuming that's why Pat's not with us tonight. He's still mourning this loss. He had to get a few black armbands for the rest of the group, and you got candles and a few other things going on. It's not a pretty sight over there in Wingsland. Trying to figure out which end is up. There's the draft. It's almost time to call this one a year, I think. Because the team just not that interested either.
I was just going to say, all the talk about Higgins, I mean, he's been hung out to dry all season. Just what more can he do? I know he had a rough outing, but what more can he do to keep this team in? He's done everything he can. So the fact that he had a bad night, I mean,
well, that just goes to show
think
that
he can't handle it because
he
can't do it. Night. He can't do it. He can't single-handedly do it game in and game out.
Right. But the single most point is if he has a bad night, they have a terrible night.
Yeah.
Because they just can't put it together on offense or defense. They have all this firepower, which really puzzles me. You have all-stars in Joe Resetaritz, Mitch Jones, Tate Katoni, Holden Katoni, let alone the whole rest of others. And they just don't seem to be able to work well together. And I can't figure out why. Because, 4 of them, 3 of those guys play together in the summer in Peterborough. Play very well together. Dominant. Here, they look like they're new at it.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
I'll maybe say a little bit that 12 isn't, the worst number in the world. But again, if you're giving up 21, what hope do you have?
Well, exactly. Let's say that that Higgins had a the stellar night, and he only gave up 12, and Knott came in and gave up 6. You're still nowhere in the ballpark, 18-12.
Yeah. You can have all the offense in the world in this game.
There's not many teams that scoring 20-plus goals. And what are you going to have? One of those old mill scores of 24-22?
Yeah. That's not happening.
Yeah. That's for 6s.
Yeah.
Right.
NLL 6s. 36-31. NLL. Scoring's down, right, Mike?
Yeah.
Memo to those fans online who think scoring's down. I mean, goodness.
Yeah. Well, that'll bring us to the next few games, right? But it's weird, because everybody's calling for this and calling for that. I think that Philadelphia is actually sitting in some pretty good position if they draft well. Because they do have a lot of young pieces in there. Yes, they have some veteran guys in there who are probably going to go. But that may not be the worst thing in the world.
Probably. And
pretty rich draft coming up, too.
Yeah. Might be rebuild time.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously that pick didn't get better with with Colorado winning this weekend, obviously, and Vegas losing. But
okay, let's go worst case scenario, Mike. Instead of 1, it's 2. You still get a very good player.
That's still a damn good player too.
It's still, two or 3. But I'm wondering if
you could get a game changer. Whereas Taggart Clark is a good player, but I don't think he's a game changer. I think he's another piece to an offense because, he just fits in. He's not that, that immense Jeff Teat kind of. My God, we have the next coming. Right, we have the next, Casey Powell in here. We have the next Gary Gate in here. No. But, with that pick, there's that opportunity.
True, but you have to wonder if maybe Paul Day's gonna take a page out of Glenn Clark's book and just go younger. I mean, that's what Albany's done, and I think they got 3 guys on the roster that are over 30. and that's it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And look where they are right now. So,
But getting some decent defensive power would be a real good start.
Oh, yeah. That's number one.
Yeah.
Fixing that defense.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, where there's no problem in defense, we head over to Toronto, or Hamilton to be more specific. And Matthew scores a game-winning goal in OT, propelled the Rock to a dramatic comeback win. The young Ryan Benesh, that's a Hattie in defeat. Another one of these games. Now, I rewatched this game this morning, and yes, there was a lot of things that were strange to me, and I am the first one to back officials and the tough job or damn near impossible job that they have. There were some real inconsistencies in last night's game. Real inconsistencies. I know the league reviews it and sends notes over. I imagine the notepad would look something in the neighborhood of this morning, because there were a lot of things that were really, really strange to me, to a number of people. But it wasn't just on one side. When I rewatched it, I noticed that I think Halifax was angrier at the refereeing than Toronto, which was strange. But anyways, let's have a look at the highlights, and we'll talk about it from there.
That opening power play of the game, still scoreless in Hamilton. Swung on by Benesh, and that will find the back of the net. Rose looked like he had it.
Ironic timing of this, he's currently serving 2 as the Rock are on the penalty kill.
And Thede will bury. Thunderbirds on a roll, a 3-goal run to start. Couldn't finish it off on the short side. Rock trying to get back to it, 10 to shoot. Heavy hit there on a collision, Armstrong and Lintner. We'll see what they have in the second. Small, little stutter step, cuts back, swings to Boucher, stop, rebound, right there. Big start to the second quarter for the Rock, if they can capitalize here. Matthews up top, swings, Matthews gets it back, plant, shoot, scores! What a laser from Mark Matthews. Bennett, RS Breakers and controls power play, Shanks with lots of room out there, Benesh. Now in tight, Jameson, Bouncer scores! Way out of some coverage. Moves to Shanks. Set up Benesh, shoot, scores! Off the delayed call, Benesh buries his second of the game.
Don't, but we will take them as they come, as long as we're playing the game that we want to play. And Shanny and John, I don't know if that qualifies tonight.
It beats Rose. Continues to tip on both sides. Undisciplined game from both teams, and Schreiber awakens to Barry against Hill. Withers with Craig cutting through, shortened RS Breakers and controls power play, and then a dunk there to get it done. What a way to bring it back for the Rock as Craig. The look, swings over to Thede. Thede has Benesh on a 2-man game, finds him, shoots, scores! Hat trick for Ryan Benesh. In the fourth, Schreiber denied by Hill. Rose stays put. Second chance, all kinds of twisters. Schreiber scores! He took it upon himself. And that'll be nullified off a play in front as Kostiuk gives it up now in tight. Matthews alone scores! Matthews with the final blow. Wins it in overtime.
Now, they showed the hard check on Lintner, right? Which to me was legal. And there was loss of possession.
Actually, I was about to say, I'm glad they actually didn't make a call on that.
Well, yes, but the one that came later that wasn't on this clip of Chris Boucher, which was also, in my opinion, a hard pick, which with anything, maybe loss of possession. These guys called a 5 in a game on Boucher, and on review kept the 5, which I doubt it was even a 2. So does that mean a big difference? Well, yes, a 5-minute penalty is still a 5-minute penalty. And ironically, about a minute later, they call the Halifax guy for a double minor. problem solved, right? 4-on-4. Then you saw a goal at the end of the third quarter. But how about that Schreiber goal at the end of the game? Dipsy doodling, deking and cutting, and then scooping with your backhand. How many players have the guts to do that with
guts
but
be able
less
to
than a
do
minute to go to tie the game?
Yeah.
Those are the guts of the skill to even be able to do that.
Yeah. Exactly. Meanwhile, all through the broadcast, they were talking about how they're not calling Schreiber's name much. Well, when they needed to, they did, didn't they?
Yeah.
The funniest comment I heard was from Brian Shanahan with the Marvel Comics, of course, and the Thor outfit, and there's Nick Rose, and Brian goes, "I never thought I'd be talking about Nick Rose's abs." Kudos to Brian for the joke. Of course, Marvel Comic Night, which brings me to the Rush from a number of years ago when they came out with.
That was before Marvel Night was even a thing.
Before Marvel Night was even a thought. So it's a better thing. A lot more to do in this thing too. Even had word searches and everything.
Yep.
Now apparently these particular things are the same everywhere. Talking about the indigenous and all the history in there, and the covers change for whatever team it is. So
awesome.
Pretty cool thing.
Cool stuff.
Pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
I love it. Any way you can get the information out, especially now you're gearing it towards kids and have them learn it correctly. All the power to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can't get enough of these kind of things and the fun. And I watched a lot of people in costume, and it was a lot of fun to watch everybody around there. So 9-8 victory for Toronto. Toronto moves to 12-3. I'm sorry. And the big thing in that is that they now clinch a home game in their playoff run as they're looking towards entire home field advantage. And, unlike Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, the place in Hamilton is loud. They had just under 10,000. It was a loud building. So it will be an advantage come playoff time. All right, let's move on to Colorado Rochester, guys. Another shocker, at least in my eyes. Williams and McLaughlin each score 4 to propel Mammoth to home win. Fields nets hat trick for the Nighthawks. Now, we've been talking about the Nighthawks heavy-duty scoring. It didn't make the trip. So let's look at the highlights and we'll go from there.
And we will keep the pronunciation straight. Another goal for Ryan Lanchberry. Lanchberry just going to the slot and fired it home. The PLL, Jamie, I want your opinions here. Chris Wardle no longer with this team. Connor Robinson goes in and he fires and scores. We'll get back to that thought in a second. Imagine right now. We should mention that Connor Kelly's not playing for Colorado tonight, missing his second straight game. There's a shot and a goal, Ryan Smith. All I can call that is nifty. Lanchberry with it again now. He's going to work in. Thought about it, now works back opposite side. And there's another little hop, and this time I believe it will count. At a power play without Chris Wardle. Oh, there's some nifty back and forth passing. Now Zed has it. He finds a way to twist it in. He got it by a defender that was Tyler Biles. Evans brought his defender back, and the defender blocked the pass, but it doesn't matter. Connor Fields is going to find a way to get the ball back and fire it in for another goal. And things well, only allowing one goal in the second quarter. Good for him. Brett Craig, he's been a little bit on a score tear, and he does it again, and then nearly impales.
Well, it seemed like the first few shifts that Rochester had, the Mammoth were being sucked out, getting beat underneath. Talk about not getting out on sticks, and I think they've made those adjustments. And there's a beauty. Number 51, Eli McLaughlin.
He's 6'4", 236. There's a pass and a shot from Zed Williams. Zed Williams just shoved his defender off of him. Tonight. There's the guy you guys talked about, shoot more. Zed, though, feeling it. Now up to Robin. Nope, that's McLaughlin. He'll get his second of the quarter. And Colorado, subbing in is going to be McLaughlin. Smartly gets to him. Oh, I thought McLaughlin had a little bit of a rain. Oh, what a twist and turn move. That is a goal. We'll have to double check that the feet were outside of the crease.
The ball out of his stick is huge.
McLaughlin gets it up top to Zed, and he finds a way to sneak it under. A big hop that snuck under the crossbar, and Colorado gets the goal back. Box.
Yeah, so we're down for another 30 seconds here for the Colorado Mammoth.
Oh, Zed Williams gets the nifty shot top corner. Colorado sneaking Gibson to the other side, and that's going to be a goal. They were basically down a guy already. Then someone got their stick snapped in half. There it is by Knight again. It's open. See, Dylan thought about it, took a good look, but not yet. Now Joey Capito, he works the trailer in from behind. Eli McLaughlin. Hutchcraft was watching Capito.
And there it is. My initial thing is that Rochester started out well. They're up 4-1 after one, and I had one goal in each quarter after that. What happened?
I think they were distracted by Baby Shark playing for about half the game. So I can confirm that it played through Ball Arena for most of the second half. So no, it's definitely concerning though.
Drive me to drink.
No, it's definitely concerning. Just at halftime I thought, well, okay, they're finally going to get, a low scoring defensive kind of victory where, the offense is going to maybe not put up what we're used to seeing, but the defense is going to make up for it. And then that run in the third quarter happened in about 5.5 minutes. It went from a 2-goal lead to a 4-goal deficit. So,
yeah. Now, we saw some Doug Buchan in there also last night in relief of Riley Hutchcraft. Interestingly enough, I had met up with Rylan Hartley's mom yesterday evening. Before the Rock game. She was in attendance at the Rock game, and we had a little conversation. He's well on the mend. He's back to work and doing other things, and talking about concussions, or going to be talking about concussions with teams and things like that. I have the suggestion that he gets in touch with Casey Zaff, and the two of them work together, because Casey's been a big proponent of this, because he nearly died through concussions from his career over in Rochester.
Yeah.
And he's a high school coach now. And I really think that the two of them should hook up and work together in the concussion protocols and the rest of that, because it's no joke. It's life altering. And he looks like he's going to be well okay. And, he might still play. Who knows? But, that really wasn't for our conversation there. I'm hoping to get him on the other show, and we'll go from there. But it was interesting talking with his mom, and they're big followers, and we appreciate them. Thank you so much, and for all the patronage. We really appreciate it. But to get in with Colorado, we thought they were done, didn't we?
Yeah, we certainly did, but
no, they're going to play spoilers now.
Yeah.
They can have fun doing that, playing spoilers.
Yeah, the big three definitely proved us wrong, and I mean, they're only 2 games out in the win column, out of a playoff spot. So
that's this new system, right? Yeah, nobody's out of it.
Nobody's technically out of it.
Yeah. So, and they have a somewhat favorable remaining schedule too. They've got their home against Buffalo, who they would like some revenge on, certainly, not only for the game earlier this season, but a certain game 3 last year.
Could you see Dylan Moore coming up with the game of games, and that's the game that knocks Buffalo out of the playoffs?
That would, if it's anything like this game, I mean, this was, I mean, 7 goals allowed, 44 saves, and I mean, very quiet, very quiet, dominant performance. So
But I'm also looking at maybe he's actually getting healthier.
Yeah, I think that was the issue all
We've
year.
talked about that week after week.
Yeah,
he just doesn't
It could
seem
be.
to look right.
Could be. I mean, all the way to game 3 of the finals last year. Game 3 of the finals the year before. You stick 2 PLL championship games in between all that. The Worlds.
Well, injury and exhaustion.
Sorry, not only the World Field, but World Box in 21.
Yeah.
Winning gold. So,
really, in the end, this was kind of the Colorado team we're looking for, wasn't it?
Waiting for all year, right?
Yeah.
They make a couple of moves, and now they're actually becoming that. Weird.
Yeah.
Very, very strange. All right, let's move on. New York, Saskatchewan. And, well, the Riptide come out. Teat Dazzles with an incredible 13-point night. 4 goals and 9 assists. Lead Riptide to the W. Church scores 4 for the Rush. What I've been saying forever. If you let Teat free, he's going to kill you. And Rush now are victim. Let's have a look at the highlights, and then we will talk about it.
Medronic or scratches for the Riptide tonight. Whistling in here, and it's an early goal for the Riptide diving in. What a start here for Taggart Clark. It's worthy this year, Mitch. Sundown gives it up over to Teat, circling around on Barnable. Chance at the doorstep, spinning, and another goal for New York.
You saw he tried to reach over and go for the dunk.
Sundown back to Teat. That's too easy from Teat. Compliments of Sundown. It's a 4-2 game. An illegal pick on Keogh. Comes back out for Saskatchewan. Chance here on the breakaway. Here with Boudreau. Gives it up. Man flying out of the front door. Church. Dunkerley lost it. Church gets the goal. It's a 4-3 game. There on that left-hand side. It is Matisse. Teat, by the way, with 1 goal. Matisse spinning away. Goes low and scores. That was majestic from Moose. Dave Leno, Mitch Belisle, Grant Delvecchio between the benches. Riptide against the Rush. Chance here. Connor Cannon behind the back. That was beautiful. Looking to continue that play. Here now as the head coach was an interim for Jeff McCobe. Dunk opportunity. Oh, that's it for New York from the back. 4v4 moments earlier in the second. Here's Mans with a jab step. With the bounce shot, Zach Mans. That's the man that Saskatchewan is counting on.
Halifax jumped out to a 4-0 lead. They are up 5-3 now in the third quarter.
Oh, another goal for the New York Riptide, skipping in for New York. It is Jeff Teat. That's his second action out there on the floor. See what Matisse can do against McClellan. Kiernan dipping inside. Sundown downstairs and scores! Number 2 for Sundown.
They're feeling good right now, although they got a whole nother 30 to worry about.
Triolo in a 4-goal deficit. One-time shot, good! Keenan. That's his second tonight. The Rush needed that. Over to his friend and teammate Teats. O'Connor back over to Teats. Over the right side. There's a goal for Keogh. Keogh defensively.
I'd love to see Mans with some space. The Riptide have done a good job of limiting him, but when he gets alone, or how about Keenan?
Yep, that's a hat trick for Keenan. Ryan Keenan. Warriors over a struggling Philadelphia. Keogh over the top, scores. That's a big one for Keogh. That is second. Keep racking them up, Steven.
Get all of the 30 here, but you do want to move the ball quickly.
Keogh with the rebound, open cage, he scores! Back to back for Keogh. Congratulations to the Rush. An official takes a spill. That looks like me out there, Mitch, on the turf. That does escape, and it's a Church goal for the outside. A soft one by Dunkerley, and another for Church in the game. It's now 12-10. Win. Sask can move into a playoff spot with a win tonight and a comeback. Teat has a hat trick, scores! That was nasty from Teat.
That's the name I keep hearing and keep hearing and keep hearing.
Yep.
And
Remember how we say everything runs through teeth?
well, yes, and well, Rochester better get it in gear next week, whatever, because in 2 weeks' time they get New York and Teat, and he likes to feast. So weird stuff going on. Keo, he looked good, didn't he?
Yeah, I was gonna say the difference between last week with Riptide this week was Keo was in the lineup. That definitely made a difference, didn't it?
Well, yeah, and it's more than just a presence. Number one, he can score, but number two, he's tough as nails inside.
Yeah,
and he can cause havoc setting picks because you're not going to move him.
And guess who gets room when he does that? Jeff Teat. Yeah.
Or any of the other, But it's funny because when Teat goes crazy, it's very silent everywhere else, right? Now, we did have a Matisse showing. That was nice. A little bit of a Kiernan showing. I still think we need more.
Didn't Taggart Clark have a hat trick?
Yes, he did.
Yep. He's fitting right in since that trade.
He's fitting in, but the other guys aren't. Funny how that works. So with the moves of having Keo and Clark in there, that's what's keeping him afloat because the guys who are supposed to be doing it were there.
Because again, we've seen it, right? When Teat goes silent, there's really nothing behind him.
True. But I also think, I think Rich Lisk explained that, when he made the trade for Clark, was that eventually he envisioned the right side being Clark, Kiernan, Austin Madronic, and Colton Lidstone.
Mm-hmm.
All of who were, going to be under, say, 25,
right.
To basically try to keep that core together.
Yeah.
Because, let's face it, they're set for a few years on the left side with Teat and Riley O'Connor and Larson Sundown. So,
well, if they can get this thing to gel, then they're in good shape. Again, I ask, is Cam Dunkerley the answer?
He made more sense than Chiliano.
Okay. But
so, in the long term, though, for one game, but even you saw that one goal by Church, it was kind of a soft one, right?
I'm just curious, though, because right now, this is where they're putting their money. So, should they be looking at drafting a goalie? Or they leave that alone and
possibly, but couldn't we be applying this same logic to Georgia with Brett Dobson or Vancouver with Aiden Walsh?
I was going to say, if you draft a goalie too, we know how long it takes for a goalie to be NLL ready. Very few jump right in. You're still going to need at least a couple of years to develop that goaltender if you draft him. Unless you've got something up your sleeve that no one knows.
The difference between those two, though, Mike, is that they have some form of veteran mentorship. In Walsh, of course, has Bold. And you have, I believe, Angus Goodleaf over in Georgia.
That's true.
And Cam Dunkerley has Will Johnson. Not really the veteran leadership that you need as a mentor. So he's kind of figuring it out in the dark on his own and kind of, trial and error.
So that maybe what you need is that veteran backup that can be that mentor.
Because right now, if they're getting bombed, and I watched in Toronto, they weren't pulling him. He's just going to take the beating because Will Johnson isn't going to be the off switch. So I'm thinking there's a number of goalies that could be that veteran leadership. Whereas if you're not going to use Will Johnson, I'm sure somebody else can count to 5 too. Just saying. I'm not saying he's not the goalie of the future. I just think that probably having a better mentor on there would be an asset to his development.
So I think consistency is probably the best word for Dunkerley. You'll see some great games out of him. You'll see some not so great games out of him.
Hey, how's it going, Brian? Good to have you with us.
Brian.
How about Craig Wendy?
I love the idea. And I
Yeah.
was going to allude to that as the mentorship when Dobson took over for the starting job in Georgia. And then Wendy went over to Halifax briefly in the off season and training camp. But of course, they have Hutchison there. And he's almost ready to be at that goal. And you got Warren Hill. So you got pretty good leadership there. So Craig Wendy would be a great idea. And I believe he's available.
Yep.
Well, one more weekend, then he's available. Wouldn't that be a kick in Toronto's teeth if they semifinal, final, and sorry, your goalie's gone. But anyways, just a thought. Like I say, I don't say that he's not the answer, Mike, but I'm just curious about development and to get him to the next step. Or is this the last?
And that's definitely a good point. That the mentorship point is compared to the other two. So,
yeah, I just see that the potential is there, sure, but you need that, or one hell of a coach, and I don't see any of these boxes being ticked. So, we have San Diego and Vegas, and once again, we have one of these close games. And San Diego wins in overtime. Leclerc scores a game-winning goal in OT, clinch a playoff berth for the Seals. And they are the second team to clinch. Now, the simple fact of the matter is a win is a win is a win is a win. Whether it's 10-9, 14-3, 200-5, doesn't matter. A win's a win's a win. But when you are touting this kind of firepower and you're coming from behind, and to a team like Vegas, I get a little bit nervous on my own thing. Let's look at the highlights.
Here early. Rob Hellier with time and room, and he buries one from outside. The captain for Las Vegas puts them up 1-0. So San Diego trying to counter that with some aggressive stick checks gets called. Good look, and it falls for Casey Jackson. They hardly need any time on the extra man at all to take a 3-0 lead as Jackson nets his 35th. For one tonight, thanks to this guy, Casey Jackson. Over to Hannah. Now Greer at the point. Rips it past O'Riglieri. Time and room for Zach Greer as the former Seal burns his old group. Who was scratched tonight. Leclerc to Stott, still scoreless. Dunbar, quick stick, and he beats Kells. Clock nearing the 2-minute mark in the second. Dunbar scores again! Then Kells rebounds after the goal by Dunbar to make the save. Now up to Connor Kurse. Kurse stings the high corner! Oh man, Connor Kurse extending to make the catch. Still 10 seconds on the shot clock. Greer 2 in the first quarter. Up to King, and he stings the far corner. A missile from Marshall King. As the shot clock winding down, and Stotts pulls it near side. Berg to Leclerc. Buries at the end of the shot clock. Oh, wow. Stotts thinking about a dunk attempt. Up to Berg. Now to Doby. Scores! The Seals lead for the first time tonight as Dane Doby buries on the power play. Now Greer. O'Riglieri makes the save, and they've got a man out running. It's Trey Leclerc. Leclerc scores! Go crazy, San Diego. You're headed to the postseason.
Now, again, to get back to our conversation, Mike and Shawn, Kells and Riglieri, real good example. Kells has, Joel Watson's his backup. Riglieri has Mike Poulin as his. Mentorship, non-mentorship. Who's going to advance quicker, do you think?
Yeah, I think we're seeing the same problems with Kells that we see with Dunkerley. Inconsistency. Some games he's looking great,
He had a great game.
but then some games he just looks.
He made 54 saves.
Yeah.
But again, he's got the Higgins problem there, where the defense leaves him hung out to dry, or rely too much on his abilities. Because it looked good for the longest time. It looked good, and there's only so long you're going to hold back all of that steam before it blows through the door. And sure enough, but does it take till the fourth before they get their first lead? All that firepower.
Yeah, I was looking down the score sheet. Other than Trey Leclerc with 3, but everyone else had 2s, and other than a 6.9 from Westberg, which is kind of a typical night for him. The next guy's Dunbar.
Yeah, Dunbar's actually fit in real nicely.
He has, but I mean,
games.
and I nothing against Dunbar, but you're expecting more out of guys like Dane Dobie, right?
But you got Curtis Dixon sitting out.
Yeah, Curtis Dixon sitting out. You expect more out of Austin Stotts, right?
Austin Stotts, man. If there's a guy who's got his number, of all people, it's Landon Kells.
Yeah.
He just can't seem. He got 1 goal. He had about 15 shots, 17 shots. He just can't seem to beat him. And it might be getting into his head a little bit. But, when I look at some of the other guys on there, Jesse Gamble had a knockout, drag-out fight. My God. So much so that he had to replace his number 7 with a number 1 after he got stitched up. But that's the Jesse Gamble I remember in Toronto. Not the biggest guy, but boy, oh boy, is he tough.
The Bulldog.
If you ever watched a Jesse Gamble workout, he is strong like bull.
Yeah.
Just, fist of fury when he does go. But again, guys like Kyle Rubish, great game. Great game. 13 loose balls, 4 caused turnovers, and very, very timely. Whenever Vegas is starting to get on that run, he's there to knock it out. So, what are we thinking about San Diego going forward? Are they as good as the record indicates?
Win's a win.
That's what I said.
Again, and I think they have the best record of any team at home right now. I think they're the only 1-loss team at home. So,
right.
So this is huge for them to stay, and say top 2, close to or getting home field advantage throughout.
Well, what they say is good teams find ways to win. And, obviously it wasn't going at 100% for them yesterday, and they found a way to win. Just like Toronto beating Halifax, where it was weird. I call those character wins. Those are wins. Teams that win big find ways to win. And teams like Toronto, teams like San Diego, they're finding ways to win no matter what. Most of the time. Like nobody expects anybody to go 18-0. So, come playoff time, I do expect teams to go, 5-1 on the way to go, or 4-1, whatever it takes to win it.
True.
So, come push, come to shove, it's health and character. Those are the 2 things that are big. And cohesiveness, obviously, but you won't have the character part if you don't have the cohesiveness. That's what I'm looking for in a team that's going to win. And ironically, all the teams that are up in the top, they have that. And the ones who don't have that are starting to fall by the wayside or are inconsistent, as you like to say, Shawn.
Yeah.
And they're looking to find that consistency, which is finding those veteran or those character guys. The ones that will knock the other guys into shape. Or when you don't have to convince, or buy in. What I'm impressed about is the Vancouver team right now. And we saw it from the beginning. We've actually watched this build from the ground up. We watched this disheveled mess at the beginning to this team that played Philadelphia this weekend, which is by no means that team that we saw in the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, you're seeing that culture shift, especially now with Mouse behind the bench. You can see the change now, that they have a belief that they can win in, game out.
Well, this is Malowski's way from the beginning of bringing in his guys so that he knows where it's all going and how to build. And all the guys who know what he expects and how he expects it, and the slow build. It's not going to happen overnight. But the crowds are getting bigger. The team's getting stronger. It's a good time to be in Vancouver. The future is very bright. And they're young.
And kind of go back to that point with San Diego, maybe that's part of it too, is there's a lot of veterans, a lot, to the point where I think we've brought it up before, is to make cooks in the kitchen.
Well, there is only one ball, right?
Yeah.
That's like the Dutch soccer team. There were all these stars on that, but there was only one ball and everybody wanted to be the star. So nobody bothered to play with anybody. I don't think that's the problem in San Diego. I think they play very well. But I also think that in game 16 or whatever it is, 15, when you're not the youngest team in the league and you're doing a heck of a lot of traveling, because they have a lot of guys from here in Ontario, and you're doing a lot of traveling all year long. By this point in the season, all of this is catching up. All the games, all the miles, all the jet lag, all the other things, as well as injuries. Because all these have been tough games because of the parity in the league. So these are other things. I know that they traded for Wardell because they wanted to give guys like Dixon and guys like Stotts a little bit of a break here and there before the playoffs because they're banged up. Wardell had 1 assist. So
yeah,
just putting that out there is that I don't think that was the answer. I think they would have rather had something a little bit more high-powered, but at what expense?
Right.
And other teams know it. So, of course, the cost of living may be here, but for you, it's here. So, let's see. Because notorious first-round exits, right? Shockers.
Yep.
But is it when you have an older team? I watched it in Toronto when they had much older teams. And by the time playoffs run, they had a great season. But they're out of gas. Well, it's a good segue. Being out of gas brings us over to today's Saskatchewan game, in which the Saskatchewan Rush, who looked very good in the first half, met the Georgia Swarm. And 9-7 was your full-time score for the Swarm. But this really was a tale of two halves. Let's sit back and enjoy.
This morning, the equipment guys came straight to the arena to take care of that. They're the real heroes.
I suppose it is for the Georgia Swarm. There it is, the seal breaker, Robert Church. Church went for 4 and 2 last night on Long Island on a double team. Now Zach Manns. Man's been active here early. Oh, right down in front. Gets past Dobson and his left shoulder into the back of the net. Patrick Dodds, his advantage. Rush on the power play. Already up 2-0. It's a big moment here early.
Well, the last 2 games here at Gas South, we've seen teams up 3-0.
Quick shot on Dobson, back of the net. Believe that's Church.
To perfection to this point.
They've not played poorly, I don't think, Georgia. It's just that they've just been barely outplayed.
Another goaltender.
Yeah.
Snake bit.
Another one through Dobson. Church has got the hat trick at 8:08 of the second quarter. Great pick. Get it back and score.
Bonberry passed it off to Thompson.
Q had to check to see if he still had it. Jackson. Thompson. Lyle has it! Oh my! Of the ball game. They've had one since. Great look. Church rips it into the back of the net. Saskatchewan has doubled their lead once again to 6-3. These fans starving for a little electricity inside the building. Thompson! Score! And that will bring the rest of the fans to for the final 4.5 minutes, or at least for now. It's been a chippy ball game between the two clubs. 4 penalties on each team. Thompson score! With 180 seconds remaining in the ball game, Georgia has 2 overtime wins so far this year. Captain Clutch does it again! Unbelievable, this guy!
Well, I just pull up my my pick'ems and my reasoning for why I picked Georgia. 2 tough games this weekend. A pissed off Swarm team. Lyle Thompson. All good reasons. All came to fruition. That fourth quarter.
I was going to say, but not till there were 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, once they ran out of gas.
That's the thing. I'm going to go on the rant right now because this is ridiculous. Like, to have a team play Saturday night into a Sunday afternoon game, that's ridiculous. How do you expect a team to do that? I know there's been other Sunday afternoon games, but usually they have a Friday night game and have the day to travel. That's
they got no sleep whatsoever.
They got hosed.
Hours,
yeah,
they're lucky. They went with absolutely no fuel in the tank, and when you have your choice of, they mentioned on the broadcast of whether you're going to eat or sleep, it's a tough choice for an athlete.
Yeah,
whether you fuel or whether you rest is really,
and
it's insane.
According to Adam Levi's article, the Rush asked that game to be pushed back so they could have at least some type of break, and League said no, can't do it.
It was funny because Lyle Thompson said in the interview after the game is that the coaches took a strip out of that team at halftime for being down 4-0 to a team that played 12 hours ago. This is a playoff. Every game is a playoff game for Georgia right now if they want to make the playoffs. So that's a team that if they do make the playoffs will be dangerous because they've been playing playoff games for a month previous.
Yeah.
But, they have to. And if they're playing, this disheveled to a team that played yesterday, what happens when they play a fresh team?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. Like, I think in some ways it went the way he thought. The Rush kind of came out quick because they still had some legs on them from the night before and still were kind of in game mode. But after 40, 50 minutes.
Once they rest, they're done.
Yeah.
If they could have gone without a halftime and didn't have to sit down, they might have actually got a little bit more juice out of them. And then they'd be completely fried by the end of it. But let's see how quickly they can bounce back for next week. Because they keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, Thursday.
Yeah, I know it's a terrible schedule. That just really bugs me. That.
Oh yeah, now you got a
Thursday schedule like that. Ridiculous to have a Saturday night into Sunday afternoon. It's just.
And the team is vying for the playoffs, and you're going to give them this schedule. This is
like
this
the
is a good
Russians
example.
battling
If they don't make the playoffs, why they didn't make the playoffs?
Yeah, and then week 19. I mean, it's home and home with Calgary, and that's on consecutive days.
Yeah, I mean that's not as bad a travel
At least
schedule.
that one's right close, right?
And it's both teams are traveling. They both have the same disadvantage, right? Whereas Rush are tired and Georgia had fresh legs. I'm sorry, I had to go on the rant because I don't want to make excuses, but it's just.
Well, enough. That's
ridiculous.
silly. We've been talking about this for weeks and weeks that this is silly. But,
yeah, the 5 games.
And like I said, I know there's been other Sunday afternoon games, but at least they've given travel days. Like it's usually been a Friday night and a Sunday afternoon.
Now, you see, I don't understand Well, unless Wells Fargo isn't available on Sunday afternoon. Why this couldn't be a Sunday afternoon game instead of a Thursday evening game and give them a week rest.
The Saturday rush
have
or
4 games, right?
Or the rush Friday or the Saturday night?
Philadelphia plays Saturday at 1. So,
Yeah, that game is Thursday, Sean.
Yeah, it is Thursday. I was just thinking, I keep forgetting the rush. They just have the one game. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a Thursday
night.
night
Yeah,
game.
so they could, so I
Philadelphia
can get
plays
the Saturday and Sunday.
Philadelphia plays Thursday and Philadelphia plays Saturday, so they get a day's rest. So it's
like I said, I have no issue with that Thursday game in some ways because it is what it is because it was a canceled game. But you could have avoided a Saturday night, Sunday afternoon. Like you can't tell me you couldn't avoid that in your scheduling.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we got a lighter week next week. 2/3 of the league are on bye. We're going 8 and 9.
We could use a rest too,
Yeah.
Well, it's only fitting that the ALL semifinals and finals are next weekend, so I can get just as many articles out of myself, right? But we have Thursday, of course, Saskatchewan in Philly. Let's hope that the Philly crowd comes out in droves because they certainly didn't come out yesterday. A lot of empty seats there. Spring break. Maybe they all went out. Never mind. Saturday, Buffalo plays Philadelphia, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So on the West Coast, you can have your bacon and eggs and watch little Bandits Wings Lacrosse. That night, you have Halifax in Rochester for a shindig over at the Blue Cross Arena, 7 p.m. And on later that same night, you got Vancouver and Vegas locking up in Vegas for a 10 p.m. Eastern game. And that's it. 4 games this week. Thoughts, guys? Other than
yeah, I mean,
because this is the stretch till the
that Sask Philly game, I think it's
monumental for both.
Yeah, it's pretty much both of their seasons on the line,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned. Because Philly, you lose that game, you're coming back 2 days later against a Buffalo team who's going to be pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's their final home game. I mean, they're 1-6 at home. So, they dropped those 2, and now you're looking at 5-10. So, that's pretty much it. And if Saskatchewan loses, they drop to 5-9, 5-8, and then they're going to have the home and home with Calgary, who, unfortunately for Calgary, this is the worst possible timing for them to go on a bye, when they're starting to pick up their game. But they're going to have that rest where Saskatchewan isn't with the 5 games in 15 days. And, Saskatchewan loses and then, say, drops both ends of that doubleheader. That's it for them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because we have 4 games this week and 9 the following week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little crazy.
A little.
The only other thing I guess I would add is it's kind of Vancouver's season on the line too. They need to pretty much win out to have a chance.
That's probably another one because Las Vegas probably could use that win too, just to kind of mathematically keep themselves.
Funny though, because Vancouver has Halifax the week after that, and now with that loss from Halifax, they're going to need to get themselves in gear too. They play Rochester this week, and then they have the Vancouver. It's not going to be easy.
No. But I think Mike made a good point in our kind of chat during this week. It's kind of funny we're in week 18 and technically nobody's out of it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, which is wild. So,
yeah.
I'd say the unified standings are, an overwhelming success.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you kind of hope that, a team like Vegas just for optics, 8 and 10 shouldn't make the playoffs.
It shouldn't, and I still don't think it will. Even though, those teams kind of bunched in from, say, 6 through 12 even.
I feel like these 8 and 10 could get you a tiebreaker for that last playoff spot.
That's true. That's very possible.
So maybe 8 and 10 will get you in there, but then it could be other statistics that'll get you
some
out.
of the other formulae that in there that will knock it out. Well, that remains to be seen, guys. And like I say, it's interesting because for the first time in as long as I can remember, everybody is still a dogfight everywhere. Every game means something somewhere down the line for some form. And even if teams don't figure that they're in the plans, they are big time spoilers. Big time spoilers.
Well, I was going to make one quick point. Nice thing too is you see it in a lot of other leagues where team knows they're out, they'll just start tanking because they know they can get that number one pick. You can't really do this here.
Well, it's also that you're
you
number
still
one
have a
pick
chance
somewhere else. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true too.
But
But at the same extent, you're still not out of it, so you don't want to tank it either.
It's very true. It's very true, and everything is all possibilities are still open. They may not be probable, but they are possible, and we've seen crazier things happen.
Yep.
So
yeah,
I just want to remind everybody that we are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, we are on X, we are on Thread, we are on YouTube. We're all over the place. We are on Edge of Philly Sports at www.eopsports.com/lacrosse. Please head over to our YouTube page and subscribe. We have lots of things over there, retro games. Our library is over there, as well as interviews, press conferences, fights, and all kinds of other things. More stuff coming all the time. And there's going to be more retro games coming in the very, very near future. So stick around for that as well. With our Facebook page, come back, check us out 3, 4, 5 times a day. We always have our thumb on the pulse of the situation, and we are up to date with everything going on with NLL, with PLL about to start up, MSL, WLA all about to start up, OJLL, Senior B. I had a talk with the commissioner there, and we're going to be doing recaps on all the games there as well. So it's going to be a completely informative site for anybody and everybody to get all their information from, your one-stop shop, if you will. Any last words? I'll go with Mike first.
I was just, I think, glad that we're coming into a short week. We could take a little bit of a breather, but the games are no less important. So,
absolutely, Shawn. Any last words?
Yeah, same thing. Especially being out here in Saskatchewan, we're sitting on pins and needles.
Absolutely. Well, the Rock have a bye week next week, but the week after that, I will be in Albany with them. So that should be an interesting time. I haven't been to the MVP Arena. I'm looking forward to having a gander at that. And there's a few people down there, lacrosse people that I'd have meetings set up with as well. So it should be an interesting time. We also don't want to neglect KUFLA, the Canadian University Field Lacrosse Association. And I have a good relationship with the new commissioner and assistant commissioner. And we're going to be doing a number of things with them as well for you on this northern side of the border as well. So stick around with us, and we're going to have all kinds of stuff for you. Should be a very, very interesting and exciting spring/summer and fall. It's going to be a lot of fun things going on, and it's going to be a busy time for all of us. So for Shawn Slaght over in Moose Jaw, for Muffler Mike over in Connecticut, I'm Gary Groob in Toronto, wishing you the best of weeks, and hopefully everything works out well for your team as well as mine. Until then, until next week, we are here next week at 9 o'clock Sunday evening Eastern. Until then, have a great week, and we'll see you then.